Yo, guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended. And in this video, I'm going to tell you a complete walkthrough guide of this monster beneath me. This is the Megaraptor. It is an absolute beast, and it has some really neat abilities, some new stuff for sure that I think they're testing for Ark 2, but without going too far into that, let's go ahead and get started. So you can see on the right-hand side, it literally has its own little tutorial. That's how many special abilities this thing has. Don't worry, I will show you how to tame one towards the end of this video, but right now I'm just going to kind of show you why these things are insane. So this is a 150 perfect wild tame. You can see that it's up to 295 now. Their stats overall are kind of mediocre when it comes to things, except its melee is insane. So health-wise, they don't really gain too much health. Stamina-wise, they don't gain too much stamina. The rest of this stuff, they don't gain too much of. Their melee damage, when you increase melee damage, goes up a ton. So having good melee on these things, I think they're going to be glass cannons, I think, because they're meant to be not really just a walk at something. They want you to kind of move around. So those are kind of the stats described. I think they're going to be largely melee focused, less so much damage focused. They will eventually when people breed them, but you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get started. The cool thing, they can walk horizontally like I am now, and then vertically like I am, and their sprint speed is actually really nice, and they can sprint forwards and left and right, which is kind of cool. They cannot sprint backwards, but they can sprint left and right like this right here, which is kind of neat. So you can kind of strafe if someone's shooting at you, which is always a very useful technique. All right, so those are kind of the generic movements. Now, it's got a couple different types of attack. The most important thing is to know how to use the claw finisher. It immediately has a huge impact. So if you hit 3 attacks in a row on something, 1, 2, 3, you can hit R and do a double slash like that to apply a stack of bleed damage, as well as a heavily increased damage overall of attack. So it's going to do 5% overall health. So if someone has a really high health creature, it's going to be very useful for you. So you do a big chunk of damage and it just slowly bleeds the creature. Now that is huge. So percent damage, 5%, anything with bleed is super nice, especially considering it has so much damage in general. But 5% plus whatever it has, huge. Gotta love it. 1, 2, I mean, some things can't even survive it once you have high enough melee on these things, but you know, you get the point. All right, so any sort of bleed is nice. So that would be attack, normal attack, normal attack, normal attack, R on PC. I don't know what it is on the other one. And then the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to toggle the hunt. Now, in order to hunt something, you're essentially going to hold right click and then wait till you get a little indicator on it, and then you'll hit left click. Now, what this does is something super neat. This essentially, you know, when you tame these things, you'll see it towards the end of the video if you haven't seen it before. You get a little like fog around you. When you apply one of these to a creature nearby, you gain 20% movement speed towards it, making you faster than it, and it applies that same fog around whatever you have applied that hunt to. So let's go ahead and find something a little slower, because chasing a Gallimimus, not super fun, but it's doable. Let's go ahead and apply it to, I don't know, whatever we see next. It's not a galley, because these things are stupid fast. Yeah, I'm not going to bother catching you. Why are there so many Gallimimus? I'm not even going to get involved in that. So you apply that hunt. Now it also applies to players too, which is pretty huge. So it literally places it on them. And you can see that right now, as long as I'm inside that 200 meters, it's isolated for another 37 seconds. Now it has a little fog around it, and you do increase damage to it as well, I believe. So it gives it like, you get basically, you move towards it quite a bit faster. And then it also gives you that like fog around it. So a real player would also experience that fog, causing him quite a bit of problems. So now when you're inside of this, you can also kind of track it, which is super cool because it puts the highlight around it. So if someone's trying to hide in bushes and things along those lines, they can't really do that to you, which is huge. You can also use your claw finishers and everything else like normal inside of hunt mode. It's super nice. So now the next kind of attack that I want you to think about is the Pounce attack. Now the Pounce attack, because you can double jump with these guys, if you go ahead and hit C, it gives you a Pounce attack, and it also stuns things. So things that would normally run away, I think it's like 2 or 3 seconds of straight up just stunned in place. So if I want to stun well, it's just going to kill a lot of things because it does so much damage. But if I wanted to keep things in place, if I knew something was fast, like, I don't know, a Gallimimus, I could, oh my goodness. Okay, well, it kills most everything. You can jump on top of something by double jumping or single jumping, and then hitting C. Now, if you hit C and miss the attack, your Pounce will have a cooldown. But if you do not miss the attack, it'll have an immediate cool. Like you just can cast it over and over again. So you can just jump up, jump down, kind of like a Manic Armor would be able to. So that's the dive pounce plus the double spacebar. Pretty freaking useful and pretty strong. So that is how you use the pretty much all of its basic attacks. Now the next thing that you want to be aware of is the camo. The camo essentially reduces its aggro range. So it's not super useful against normal players, but if you turn on the camo, you can hit, and I guess on PC, you're going to hit right click and see, it'll turn on the camo, and you'll see if I'm looking at something like this guy right here, it tells me if I'm inside of its aggro range. So you can see that it's kind of like that little green bar. If that green bar is filled, it means it doesn't know I'm here. Now, it does not work obvious versus players because a player is just going to be able to see me. It's not like you go invisible or anything like that. But it will register things on the aggro screen for you to see whether or not they see you're there. So those are all of the attacks. Now, this is only kind of like the early stages, but I can see someone doing like this right here, basically just jumping using the camo and then applying a hunt stack to an enemy player. It's going to be really, really strong because anything that you apply a hunt stack to, let's say you apply it to someone trying to raid you on a stego, they're not going to be able to see what's going on. So you can kind of plan on the outside of them. And then while you have them lowered on vision, you can keep just pouncing on them over and over again. So just to show you what I mean by that, you got a huge pounce range there. And I just did 1,800 damage to a Diplo. So hard to complain, especially because a normal player is going to get smoked by it. Now, I'm pretty sure because it's an AoE attack too, it's not just a direct single target attack. It's going to do damage to players on top of stegos, which is huge because just like a rocket would and stuff like that, you can eventually just splash damage things nearby. See how that 900? And basically you're going to be able to kill things off of people, off of the back of their mounts and stuff like that. So they're pretty strong. Having these things leveled up in melee is going to be huge. And they're fast enough to outrun quite a few things. Not a ton of things, but quite a few things. So yeah, that's kind of that. So really, I was trying to talk, and then of course a Megaraptor says hello. All right, so let's go ahead and find one so I can kind of show you how to basically tame these things, because it's not hard. It's really, really easy actually. Some people have told me, oh, it's impossible. It's not. You just need to know 2 basic tricks. All right, let's go ahead and find the Megaraptor. I don't know why it does this when you have this out. All right, wild Megaraptor, where are you? You're over here. Okay, you're down here. All right, so essentially all we have to do is we have to find the spire of the Megaraptor. Now, I don't know where the Megaraptor is. Supposedly it's near here. I don't know. Oh, there's the spire. All right, so do you see this thing right here? This is a Megaraptor spire. Now, big suggestions that I have is anything that can aggro towards you while you're in nearby, anything at all that'll aggro towards you, kill it. Don't even leave anything alive, because if it can't, like, you're going to go into a special place. And if you're in that special place and you get attacked, there's nothing you can do about it because you can't pull out weapons. So we know that there is a Megaraptor attached to this pyre right here. It looks like this pyre might actually be dead. Did the Megaraptor leave the aggro area or something? Maybe it did. It may have died actually. So basically when a Megaraptor is nearby, it'll create this little like thing, this Megaraptor altar. I'm going to change the time of day because maybe it's just a late night thing. Nope, it's not. Yeah, I thought it was, but it looks cooler. That's about it. So there will be a Megaraptor nearby, and if you can have the Megaraptor that's not dead, this pyre will allow you to tame it. If the Megaraptor is dead, like I've just experienced, apparently, you can't tame it. All right, so there's 135 Megaraptor. Okay. I don't know if this one's going to have another pyre or if it's just too far away from its original pyre. Let's see if I can kind of like try and aggro it back to its pyre over here. Come on, buddy. Is this yours? Is it gone? Maybe it's gone. Oh, well, I'm just going to find another one. Why not? But as long as you find the pyre, they'll usually be close enough to it where you can kind of just take care of them that way. All right, Megaraptor. Sorry, buddy. Next one. There's one over here. And up we go. All right, he is down here, apparently. All right, Megaraptor, where are you? There's the pyre. All right, so if there is a Megaraptor nearby, you can essentially hit E to challenge the Megaraptor. The challenge will bring the Megaraptor back if he is fighting something. Come on, buddy. Please finish your fight with whatever you're fighting and then come back here. I want to play. If he is currently fighting something, it causes him to kind of like disengage. You're supposed to disengage. I don't know if it will or not, so. All right, game. He is currently fighting things, so apparently they're not going to let him break game. Break. Do you just kill these things? Okay, there's one. And this is why we kill things around. It's frustrating. All right. Now that that thing's dead, we're going to go and challenge the Megaraptor. Now that we're inside of the Megaraptor zone, you can see why this is frustrating, because if I didn't kill those, what are they called? See how everything's like trying to attack me? You have to kill everything ahead of time. If you don't, exactly what just happened to me will happen to you. All right, so now that we're in here, we have a Megaraptor. Get out your torch, go over to the pyre. Altar is recently disturbed, so we have to wait for it to be undisturbed. And then once it's undisturbed, we'll be able to hit E to challenge it. It's going to place like a little fog around you. And then once that fog is around you, you will essentially, just like this right here, he will kind of walk in a circle. Now, my recommendation is to stay completely put. When you hear him shout, listen. See how I heard him shout and I turned and swung? If you miss him, it doesn't work, but you have to hit him with your torch. All right, come on. There we go. And he get little stars above his head. Now, once they get those little stars above their heads, you can essentially keep hitting them over and over until they get knocked out. Now, once they get knocked out, you just feed them kibble. It's really that easy. Come on, bud. There we go. So just listen for him. Once you hear it, turn, swing, and then that's how you tame it. You just keep doing this over and over and over again until it finally knocks out. Each swing, whether you have a good torch or a bad torch, is going to do right around 200 or 300 torpidity. Depending on your melee damage, you can increase that melee damage to increase the amount that they take. So, yeah, not too shabby. So, okay, there you go. Go to sleep. All right, now that we don't care too much about it, you can see how it's done. Normally, you would just keep doing it till he gets knocked out, and then feed him the kibble, and that's how you tame the Megaaptor. So, anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. And other than that, teach.